Good morning, Kentuckiana. Thank you for waking up with us on this Sunday morning. I'm Gabriel Gonzalez.
And I'm meteorologist Matthew Willoughby.
It's good to be here on this Sunday with you, Matthew. Good to be here with all of you, of course. It is the first Sunday of 2026, and not only are we going to make this Sunday a great day, but this year is going to be great for everybody.
Yes, it is going to be a great one. I know I was a little bit down last half hour with, the cold, but, we talked over the commercial break.
Yep. We're good now. We're back.
We're good now.
Ready to give you what you need to know.
Yes, first weekend of 2026 is going to be a good one. So let's give you a quick peek at least the 7-day forecast. Yeah, we do have some warmer weather on the way for us as we go towards this week ahead. But overall, give you a look outside for this morning. We are seeing at least some cold conditions outside to start off, and temperatures are into the 20s. So typically, when you have the clear skies, some calm winds, you'll have those temperatures drop off well into the 20s, especially during this time of year. 22 degrees in Seymour. Out to Scottsburg, 20 degrees, 19 in places like Madison and Carrollton for this morning, and Mitchell at 18 degrees. Feel like temperatures, same case, honestly. We're not seeing those too much different from the actual temperature this morning. I give you a look at what those weather headlines. Well, overall, we'll still have a dry weekend, and we are tracking some rain chances on the way for next week. Satellite and radar does have some nice clear conditions outside, so won't have to worry about the clouds or the rain today. We'll see some nice sunshine throughout the day, and that Sunday coffee planet to really get you going for this Sunday. We'll be into the upper 20s for that midday or for this morning. Back into the midday, 40 degrees with some nice sunshine. Highs throughout the day will be into the lower 40s, but further down south into the mid 40s for this Sunday. So what's ahead? We're talking a big warm up on the way, actually. We're talking not just a day where we'll see 75 degrees and then eventually 30, but we're talking multiple days into the 60s for the week ahead. But also, we're tracking some rain chances as well to go along with that. I'll be talking about all those details in just a few minutes. Back over to you, Gabe.
This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
President Donald Trump not mixing words and praising the operation that captured Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, and his wife. President Trump made that announcement Saturday morning at Mar-a-Lago. The U.S. military says it captured Maduro and his wife while in the Venezuelan capital city of Caracas. The president released an image of Maduro, who was wearing a tracksuit and a blindfold on his way to the U.S. to face prosecution. Maduro was driven to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York overnight. He, along with his wife, face drug and weapon charges. Maduro will remain jailed at the same New York facility that housed some other well-known defendants, including Sean Diddy Combs. Trump says he will authorize U.S. oil companies to take over Venezuela's energy infrastructure, and the embargo on Venezuelan oil remains in place.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
The Justice Department alleges Maduro and his allies turned Venezuelan institutions into a, quote, hotbed of drug trafficking and fueled corruption for their own benefit, end quote. Across the country on Saturday, protesters gathered in the streets marching in opposition to the U.S.'s involvement in the impending regime change in Venezuela. This is video from cities like Washington, D.C. and New York, as well as Los Angeles and Chicago. We also saw protests here in Louisville on Saturday. But while some Louisvillians spoke out against the military action, a group of Venezuelan Americans praised the liberation of their home country. WHAS 11's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Connie Offit tell us why they're celebrating.
Latin nationalities come together in one Louisville room.
See, you see what happened last night. There's something everybody in the world from Venezuela is waiting.
Jose da Silva stands with his fellow Venezuelan community celebrating the capture of President Nicolas Maduro.
What happened last night, I need to happen.
seeing the strike and capture as the liberation of their homeland.
Cuba Libre, so this is the freedom for Cuba.
By their side are members of the Cuban community.
And every time we go to any of these rallies in support of other countries, we take it with us.
They know how their fellow Latinos have suffered after decades of being under a dictatorship themselves.
This moment for Venezuelans is a sign, it
Signals hope their turn will be next.
Venezuela isn't yours! Venezuela isn't yours!
Mixed reaction across town in the Highlands. Protesters calling this a breach of power.
You know, President Trump, why don't you run your own country? You know, we have people in the streets here starving every night, people that will tonight die of cold in this country, and we do nothing about it.
It does immediately put the United States back in the center of hemispheric politics here in the Western Hemisphere. And it's going to be an interesting 2026 as a result.
Dr. Kurt Jefferson, professor of global leadership for Spalding University, says the sanctioning and removing of Maduro has been an interest of a few American administrations.
Trump, remember, is about making deals, and he's about business first, even though he's using heavy force to achieve these ends. I think he would probably pause before doing something trying to inflame any situations in the region.
And when it comes to President Trump's words on not being afraid to put boots on the ground, Jefferson thinks that's not likely to happen soon. Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side.
And the Trump administration says it did not inform Congress of the operation for fear of information leaking. This provoked mixed reaction from Kentucky's congressional delegation. Democratic Congressman Morgan McGarvey was in our studio yesterday. He talked about the constitutionality of the strikes on Venezuela.
I mean, Nicolas Maduro is a monster, and everything from drug trafficking to torture to disappearing people. There's no debating that fact. But, you know, Donald Trump has showed us time and time again, he doesn't care about democracy or civil rights at home, much less in the world abroad. What he said at the podium today is that we are going in and we're going to take over Venezuela and we're going to put the oil companies back in. Didn't have the authority to do it, and I don't think there's any appetite from Americans, from any of us, to fight another prolonged, protracted war over oil.
McGarvey also added once Congress begins its second session this coming week, he expects a push for greater transparency and accountability. McGarvey is not the only representative to respond to the attacks. Andy Barr said he is in favor of Maduro's apprehension. He wrote on X in part, quote, "Critics of President Trump's actions in Venezuela should be ashamed. Far from violating international law, President Trump is enforcing the law with this action in Venezuela. Americans everywhere rather, should celebrate the president and that Trump has restored international order and further deterred our enemies," end quote. Representative Thomas Massey is questioning the constitutionality of Maduro's capture. He wrote on X, "If this action were constitutionally sound, the Attorney General would not be tweeting that they've arrested the president of a sovereign country and his wife for possessing guns in violation of a 1934 U.S. firearm law," end quote. And Kentucky's Attorney General Russell Coleman sent out a message of support saying, quote, "We must cut off the flow of fentanyl and send a powerful message to the Mexican cartels. The president's actions in Venezuela showed needed strength in this fight. We are grateful to the U.S. Armed Forces and federal law enforcement who continue to protect Kentucky and our nation," end quote.